Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to the second upload for today here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have the continuation of the confession from our Vicky, who shares with us about the dangers of dating sugar mummies and the likes. In the first video, she took us through how she got herself involved in the group and their activities. In this part 2 of the confession, Vicky takes us through the kind of sacrifices that she has made in her life with young guys who prefers to sleep with older women for money and the likes. But before we go into what we have for this episode, I would love to take this opportunity to ask you to please kindly subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload. Please let's go and listen to the story.
When I was asked to enter into that office, the grandmother was already naked and was waiting to have her turn with me. I thought what I did earlier with the first 4 were at the top notch. I was just lying, this was out of this world. After making out, she told me that the seed that she has planted in me was the seed that will grow to give me money. She said that if I meet a guy that I love and do not want to use his sperm for sacrifice, I shouldn't let him come inside of me. Because the moment he comes inside me, his soul has been exchanged for money. And my money will be coming like the sea water. But if I want to give birth, then I should come, so they do some rituals for me to allow the sperm inside so the child can grow. This was the rules and regulations given to me. The way it looks, when I sleep with you, you won't find some of the weird things that people talk about concerning women using your sperms in condoms for their sacrifices. Simply because, I will tell you I love to have it without condom so that you can release your sperms inside of me. When it happens that way, you will not think of me using your sperms for anything. But in a real world, I will be using you for my rituals without you knowing. I have been in this group for years now. I started this group when I was around my early 30s. And today I am in my 50s. So you can imagine the number of sacrifices that I have done. How the sacrifices are done is that, when I make love to a man and I do not do any ritual to cover you, the man, from the powers that are backing us, the very sperms that you will release in me is just like a life that you have put inside me. And because we are not interested in that life, it is the person that released the sperm inside me that we will use for the sacrifice. Remember, the grandmother made love to me as well as the elders. And it was the spirit that was making love to me. That was why when I was making love with them, I told you I saw a giant man making love to me. It was the spirit that we worship that was depositing the things that will facilitate the transfer of the person's soul inside of me. So, how we do pick the young guys is that, we sometimes do organize these big parties, and when they come, you look through them and pick the one you feel to have something with. We normally approach them offering them to sit with us. Because mostly I go to such parties with 2 of my colleagues in this same group. So, when we all have spotted our victims, we sit with them and do have nice time there. After which we will offer to go to hotel for some nice time. Normally they always are eager to go with you when you offer yourself like that. There are times too that we spoil them with money for days, sometimes for months. Before we take them to sleep with us. After having this time with you, what I do is that, I give you money for your upkeep and promises to call you. That is when the sex was good. Roughly after 3 months, when we first slept together, you will start to see some symptoms in your body. Some comes as you reducing weight. Others too comes as you having sore all over your manhood. When the sacrifices are fully done in the realms, you will never live to experience the next day. Sometimes when I hear news that a nice guy who was not ill just died shortly after complaining of headache or heart attacks, then I know it might be as a result of some of these sacrifices. Money has never been my problem. I have about 4 houses here in the capital city alone. I import rice into the country just to cover the kind of things that I do. So, people actually do believe that I make my money from doing that business. In as much as there is money in importation of rice, the kind of money I have, the rice money, is just about 5% of that money. Everything changed when I met this cute man in one of our programs. I instantly knew I couldn't use this man for any sacrifice. I wanted to have him all to myself. So I always do some rituals so that he will not be harmed when we make love. I could have asked him to just use condom and get away with it. But I wanted to have children, and so anytime we meet, I do the rituals secretly before he will even visit me in my house. I became pregnant and I couldn't do any sacrifice for all those periods. It had been like 2 years since I saw the guy and I had not slept with any other guy. I was summoned by the grandmother and they asked me what was going on. Because she can see that my spiritual backing is gradually going down. That was when I told her that I was pregnant and wanted to deliver before I can start any other thing. What she told me was that I know the right thing to do and whatever happens, I shouldn't blame anybody but myself. Because she said I should have told them when I wanted to give birth, but I just went straight ahead to get pregnant. What I did was that I didn't tell the guy that I was pregnant for. I just wanted a child without anyone claiming to be the child's father. When I gave birth to my son and he was about 5 years old. One night in my sleep, I saw the spirit that I was walking with. It called me out of my sleep and I was walking about in my house like a mad person. All these whiles, it was telling me of the things it was commanding me to do. I was commanded to sleep with my own child as the ultimate sacrifice, if not they were going to deal with me severely. I knew when I do that, I was just giving my son's spirit away and I was not ready to go through with it. Now, the spirit started to disgrace me in front of people. That is when I have a visitor and the person is sleeping at night, they will always hear some weird and dangerous noise coming into their room as if there were some caught people in the house. These people that the spirit was carrying them away are the same people that I will be sleeping with them in order to give your sacrifice to you. But here you are scaring them away. So I called for my godmother and told her about what was happening with me and the new developments in my life. I had started losing money like I have never witnessed before and I couldn't tell why and how. This was when after the consultations, I was told the deity that we were serving was angry with me for refusing his request. So, I was told that it was either the life of my child or my own life that he will eventually take when the time comes. So they advised that I should just let my son go, I can always have another son, they told me. I asked what if that one too, I am asked to sacrifice him or her. Will they tell me to go ahead with it or oppose it? I couldn't understand why he just wanted my son's life. I had served him sincerely and diligently. So, why treat me that way? I was determined to keep my son at all cost. This situation is what made me start to think about the kind of pains I have brought to people's parents and their families just by sleeping with them, and as a result they dying eventually. One evening I was walking by the park with my little son and from nowhere he started shouting and crying. He started to vomit blood. There were a lot of people there as well. So, they rushed to help me out. Amongst the people was this man who introduced himself as a pastor. And he offered to pray for my son. After the prayers he called me out of the crowd and wanted to tell me something. So, I told him we should go inside my car so he can talk without thinking of anybody listening to our conversation. In the car, this man told me that the souls of the people that I have managed to lead to the afterlife whilst their time was not up are all coming after me. And when it starts, I will be sorry for the very life that I have. He said that I will plead for my life to be taken, but until they finish with me, I will never die. So I asked him if all that he is saying is going to happen to me, what I needed to do to avert it. The pastor told me that I will need to denounce the powers that I have behind me and take on the new mantle in the Lord. This he said that I will lose everything that the devil gave me if I was to go that route he is telling me to. I told him if my son will be safe, I don't mind losing everything that I have, including my own life, just to save my son. He prayed for me and told me to visit him the following day so he can start prayers with me. That evening, it was hell for me in the house. There was this great wind blowing all over my house and I could hear weird noise all over the house. The magnitude of this made me step out and went straight to a place where we used to go and sit, just to buy time. Early in the morning, I went to the pastor's place per the direction he gave me. When I got there, he was the type that dressed in this white garment. He started to work on me. After some long hours of prayers and directions, he told me that I will not have any house to go into when I leave his place. To my surprise, when the time came for me to leave for the house, I came to meet my house in fire. I received a phone call from my godmother and she told me not to go into the other houses that I own because I might not come out alive if I do. Because of the things that she is seeing. The following day, I heard from my shop assistant that my shop was also on fire. I knew right from there that all that I had done and worked for the devil for was all being taken from me. But at least I was happy I had my son. This is how after years of service to the devil and his group, the devil nearly wiped me and my son away from this earth. I know I cannot undo whatever I have done during the time I was with them. But my cause now is that I take the least chance to talk to people about the dangers in this sugar mommy and all those things. That is why when I came across this platform, I decided to share my story with the general public so that at least someone might hear, and if one person comes to terms with this, I know my work is on course. I always find means to communicate to the younger generation to turn to their maker for a better purpose in life. Because money is not everything. When I gave birth and was looking at the dangers of me losing my son right in the face, was when I realized, money is not the ultimate thing to guarantee a person's happiness in this world. I am working on myself one day at a time. Please do work on yourself and find your purpose in this life that you have right now. The pleasures of this world only lead to the destruction of the soul. Everything in this world is for this world. What your soul needs right now is to connect back to its source. Thank you for your time.
From now on, if a video is 1 and 2, the part 1 will be posted in the morning and the part 2 will also be posted in the evening of the same day. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. I hope we've all learned something important from the story. In our quest to make it in life, we should always fight the temptation of having to do some immoral acts in order to make it. It might sound good and easy way to make money, but please, we should know that there is always cause and effect in this life. Whatever you sow today, you shall always reap tomorrow. You definitely cannot go and ask for anything from the devil without the devil trying to also take something from you in return. Let's be mindful of the choices that we make. Because it can either make or unmake us in a long run. Thank you and kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share. Thank you for listening to this episode. Watch out for another mind-blowing confession in our next upload tomorrow. Until then, you can also watch other interesting and intriguing confessions we have on the channel.